Good afternoon. This is the normal weekly oversight bulletin on the Department of Employment and Labour. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different this week. I'm going to look at a case study which has started quite nicely but ended off very badly. And I think it's an interesting watch just to hear what took place in this particular case study. I have got their permission to broadcast this, and I think it is important that I do this so that people understand what is going wrong with the Department of Employment and Labour, and in particular the UIF. So please listen to the story. Not in for my wildest dreams did I think that I would be doing this still on the 1st of August 2020, 4 months of the lockdown. It's an absolute impossible thought. The lockdown has effectively already destroyed their business community. So please listen on. This is Michael Bagram, the spokesperson, Labour spokesperson for the Democratic Alliance, and as I said, it's the 1st of August 2020. Well, this last week was perturbing, to say the least, pretty sad. There's still people who haven't been paid even from April 2020, never mind in June and July. So there's still many of those people still writing to me, and I'm still writing, honestly writing, begging, pleading with the Commissioner Marapeng, and asking him to listen. Well, what has happened during this past week, I've been getting lots of reports, well, literally hundreds of reports, from businesses telling me that they're getting an indication from the Department of Employment and Labour, in particular the UIF, to say that they're conducting a risk assessment. Now, these are people who have put in claims, been paid for April, May, some even for June already, and then get this note that they're conducting a risk assessment. Now, I think that's sheer nonsense. It's poppycock, to say the least. And I have coined the phrase from bad to ters, because I'm not sure what that means. And when people write in to the Commissioner and they say to Commissioner Marapeng, please let me know what this risk assessment is, why is it holding up the works, and if there is a risk, let us know what it is and send someone in to conduct the risk assessment. But no, there is no conducting of the risk assessment at all. I think it is sheer SHYT, because at the end of the day, we haven't seen one company actually have the risk assessment. We've seen a few companies where they said, we're going to come in, we want to see the following documents, we want to see the following payroll and whatever, and they make the appointment and they don't pitch. So that's the one hand. The other hand, they say we're going to do a risk assessment and they never do it. And what does that mean? It just means that the company's then put on hold. Well, the company is not the one that really suffers. The employer is not the one that really suffers. Who suffers is the staff. Now, let me tell you about this exercise that I went through, unfortunately, yesterday, on the last day of July 2020. I got a call very early in the morning from the management of a company called Aquila Game Reserve. They are big employers, probably the biggest employer in that region, and in particular they draw their staff from a small town called Ters River, and they have been the mainstay, the breadbasket of Ters River for many, many years. It's run by the Durman family, Sil Durman and his family, and they're good, solid employers. They run soup kitchens, they give food to the school, they do all sorts of good things in the town, and have been doing for many years, over and above just employing literally hundreds of people from a town where it's got no other employment. And of course, as we go into the lockdown, our government, by their hand, have single-handedly destroyed the tourism industry. And it's not the virus, it's the government has destroyed the tourism industry single-handedly by locking down. And they've locked down the tourism industry to date. Yes, they have now said they're going to start allowing people to sleep over for some sort of leisure travel, but only in the actual province in which they reside. And companies like Aquila Game Reserve have to survive by the skin of their teeth, if they can survive. Well, what the Durman family has been doing over this period is they've been pumping their own money into this business all the time, to the extent that they are starting to shake. They are keeping the animals fed, and they're keeping some of the staff gainfully employed because you still need some staff. Some are keeping them on 50%, even though they don't have 50% of the work. And some obviously have had to survive from their monies from the UIF. Well, yes, on the first occasion they applied at the end of March, and they got paid for April, and we applauded them. They did everything right. They paid. There was a complete overall of their system. They looked at it and they made sure the staff got their money. They then applied for May, and most of the May people were then paid as well. When they applied for June, they suddenly got this letter saying we are conducting a risk assessment. Well, immediately they wrote in and said, please tell us what the risk is. This has made us very worried. They wrote to everyone, to the minister, to the director general, to the commissioner, obviously to me as well, in my capacity as a Democratic Alliance Labour spokesperson. They wrote to everyone they could think of, and they were desperate, and the staff are desperate. Now, you must understand that the staff have no other form of income whatsoever. People have not got other members of the family working. These were all the breadwinners, and they were desperate. And then when they try and inquire, the staff try and inquire from the Department of Employment and Labour, the staff are informed, or so they inform us, that they were told that the monies had been paid to Aquila Game Reserve, and so therefore Aquila Game Reserve is holding back the UIF monies from the staff and not giving it to them. Well, understandably, the staff then went out on a strike, and they stood on the N1 highway just outside Ters River saying that Aquila were bad people. Now, this is the same people that kept them employed for many years, kept their children fed, educated, and in fact did everything they could to make sure that the staff were happy. And of course, they now turn on the employer because the department said that it's the employer's fault. Now, unfortunately, this has been the nature of this department. They are absolutely disgusting. They blame the employer for their failure. And in blaming the employer, what they've done is they've put the staff at risk. It is the most awful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm emotional about it because these were loyal people who became disloyal overnight, then went on an illegal strike, said bad things about the company, now put their entire job at risk because now the company is upset, the trust relationship is broken, and it's all the fault of the Labour Minister. The Department of Employment and Labour need to have their head read. They are disgusting. They have put these people, not only have they put their livelihoods at risk, but they've put their future livelihoods at risk because now, obviously, the Aquila Game Reserve is not keen to continue with that employment. They feel they should just shut up shop and go off into the distance and forget about any job creation in the small, impoverished town of Ters River. So I call upon the Minister of Employment and Labour to apologise, to then resign, because this story that I've told you is being repeated hundreds and hundreds of times across the country. And there must be about 1 million employees out there that still haven't been paid fully for their TERS payments. This is the most disgusting part of our history. We are destroying the most vulnerable people of South Africa. The blue-collar workers who are not earning, we're destroying them. And I put that blame on the minister's shoulders entirely. Our government has failed the workers of South Africa, and hopefully the workers of South Africa will be able to recover from a disgusting regime that we're working under at the moment. Thank you for listening to me. This is Michael Bagram, the Democratic Alliance Labour spokesperson. 1st of August 2020, and let's hope we can see a ray of sunshine into the future. Thank you.